Did you record?
No, not yet.
Great. Hi, Facebook. Hi, YouTube. Hi, everyone. This is the Targeted Podcast. This is Sahid, Omar, Nicholas. So we have a myriad of topics to talk to today. We're going to talk about the fiasco of GameStop. What the hell that was about. We're going to get to see Omar act like a giddy little girl when he gets to talk about like Godzilla. So exactly, he's going to do that. He's going to high-pitched voice and get all excited. And then we're going to talk about a little bit more serious. We're going to talk about like whitewashing and white saviorism in movies, right? So it's a little more kind of
in Hollywood.
In Hollywood, yes, in Hollywood in general. So y'all guys are ready? Ready to do this?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
All right, so let's get started. All right, so as you guys know, like there's like this huge fiasco that happened last week with GameStop. So GameStop is like a dying company. And like I don't remember the last time I went to a GameStop. Have you guys ever been to a GameStop in like the last like 5 years or whatnot?
Yeah, I have. Sometimes I mean it's been, obviously I didn't go last year, 2020, but honestly, if I'm buying video games, I'm usually not walking into a game store anymore. I'm usually doing a digital download or ordering it online. If I'm walking through, it's just for memory's sake, just to look at the boxes. And,
I
feel like a kid again.
I walked in to try to find a headset, but I mean, they didn't even have anything.
Yeah.
So it was just like a waste of time. The only reason I'm really going there anymore, one is up the street, and if I want to play like a game demo or something, or if I'm bored waiting for somebody, I'll go there. But never buy anything.
And GameStop is notorious for like when they're buying back their games, right? Like they totally undercut it as well, right? Another fun fact about GameStop, since you didn't go last year, GameStop CEO kind of forced their employees to work during the pandemic, and the employees kind of complained about them not being adequate working conditions to work during the pandemic. But that's neither here or there. We can talk about just the craziness that happened behind GameStop. So as you guys know, as you guys articulated, GameStop is kind of like a dying company, right? They're losing sales, they're losing market share, they're losing they're just losing value. So these like Wall Street hedge funders, right? Actually, a lot of them are located in Connecticut, but these big hedge fund guys decided to short a Wall Street their stock, right? And I'm going to explain what that means. So they tried to short the stock, but a bunch of Reddit users found out they were doing this. And instead of shorting their stock value going down, they pushed the value up, right? So it was kind of like a very funny troll. And then a whole litany of crap happened afterwards. And I will go through all of that nonsense for you guys today. So let's talk about what short selling is, okay? So let's say, for example, I anticipate a stock is going to decrease in value, right? So what I do is I borrow the stock from some broker, right? I borrow it. I don't pay for it. I borrow it and I sell it immediately. Okay. So I sell the stock immediately for $10. And then I'm supposed to give the stock back like a week later or whatnot. So when the broker asks for that stock back, I can pay only $2 for the stock because the value decreased. Okay. So let's say it's like borrowing a book almost, right? You sell it to someone, you sell for $10, the value goes down, you buy it back again for $2, you make an $8 profit, right? So that's short selling in a nutshell. A really good movie to kind of help you grasp this around, because I know it's a hard concept to get, is the movie Casino Royale, James Bond, 007, right? So in that movie, the bad guy, Le Chiffre, what he does is he tries to blow up an airliner, right? He gets like his client's money just for collateral, right? And tries to blow up an airliner. What he does, he tries to short the stock with the expectation that when he blows up this airliner, the stock's going to go down, right? As you know, James Bond stops him. He gets screwed out of it, and that's why he has to start the whole Casino Royale so he can win his money back. So
that's a good one.
Yeah, so that's how that's how short selling works, right? They also do it in a classic movie called Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Alcorn, but we'll get into too many examples. But that's short selling, right? So that's kind of how that works. So the next part, so what happens is that these guys short sell and they expect for the stock market to go down so they can sell it for a lower price and keep the change or keep the difference. But these gay Reddit users find this out, so they start hitting up these stock prices, right? So GameStop starts going up. They become like a Fortune 500 company after becoming a dying company in like a week. It's hilarious, right? AMC stocks, they're again a dying business because of the pandemic, right? They were going down, they shot those stock prices back up. So this kind of just pissed off a lot of people, and now like
a lot of rich people,
Yeah.
yes. And now, and I'm gonna play a clip of like a billionaire just like losing his shit. It's actually really funny. But also what happens though is that GameStop, what they did is they stopped allowing people to buy shares, right? So because the stock's price is going up, they stopped allowing their users to buy shares. A lot of other brokers did this as well, and this kind of pissed off a lot of people, right? Because the narrative is that, well, us small time stock buyers can't affect the market, but these big guys who caused the 2008 crash and so on and so forth, they can affect the market and they get bailed out and all this stuff, right? So this big person versus big person, like little guy versus big guy thing. Of course, all this happens on an app called Robinhood, by the way, which is
how ironic.
The irony, right? Taking money from the rich, giving it to the poor, right? So So Robinhood stops, and other smaller like brokerages stop selling this, allowing people to buy the stock. I'm going to explain why, and this is a little bit kind of tricky, and it's kind of hard to get. So the way stocks, when you buy a stock, works is that I don't know if you guys have bought stock before, but when you buy stock immediately, the money doesn't actually go through like immediately. You don't get that stock immediately, right? It usually is on hold for about 2 days, right? What happens is that it goes through a clearinghouse, which then goes through something called the DTCC, which is called the Depository Trust Clearing Corporation, right? So the clearinghouse kind of holds your stock or holds that order for you until the order goes through to the DTCC, right? And since it doesn't happen immediately, even though it looks like it goes immediately, you're required to have like 2% of the value of the stock as like a down payment until the order goes through, right? So what happens though is that because a lot of these guys are buying GameStop and AMC and all this stuff, the DTCC, right, says, which normally has like a 2% volatility rate, or 2%, like require 2% to make
What's
this transaction happen.
DTCC again?
So DTTC is the Depository Trust Clearing Corporation, right?
Okay.
And I might actually have to like share like a video just kind of explain all this crap. But what happens is that the brokerage goes to the clearinghouse, and the clearinghouse goes to the DTCC, right? And so what happens is that the clearinghouse requires like some down payment or like 2% of the stock to kind of hold your order with the DTCC, right? So it's about 2 days until you actually own or the sale goes through for the stock, right? You don't really see this like initially, right? People don't really know a lot about this. So what happens is that because they start shooting up these stock that are dying, the DTCC like kind of freaks out and it's like, okay, hold up. Instead of the 2% now, I need you to have like 100% of the money to make sure to if you want to complete these purchases, right? So Robinhood, what they do is what they say they did, right? Is they had to stop buying or stop letting people buy the stock, right? So they can raise enough money, right? Because that money doesn't go to them immediately, right? They take like 2% of the money from their own like clearinghouse, right? They have like this large amount of money where they can use to like pay their 2%, and then when the money goes through, right, they can pay the rest, and you push it on the stock, right? But they didn't have the money.
I did read that he had to make a call to his investors to get, I think it was like a $3 billion.
Exactly. So Robinhood's like $1 billion company. They had to raise like $3 billion so they can like keep these orders to go through. So that's like the tricky part that they didn't do a good job explaining, right? And this kind of what pissed people off. Yeah. I didn't know about this either, right? So a lot of people didn't like understand this, right? They just said, "Oh, we're stopping trading," right?
That's a completely different narrative than what was shared. It's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, I was a Robinhood investor. I was out there like trying to buy stuff, and it was just like, sorry, the sales of this stock are no longer allowed right now.
Yeah,
it's
what?
If they had given the explanation that you gave, then I would have been like, oh, well, that sucks.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, another stock brokerage, they actually gave that explanation as to why that happened. They're still not out the water yet because it still seems sketch. Like the whole thing seems sketch. And I'm gonna first start reading something from the NASDAQ CEO, right? The NASDAQ CEO. So what she said particularly was she suggested, I don't think they actually did. She suggested they're gonna halt trading for like investors to recalibrate their positions. Pretty much meaning like, oh, so we're gonna halt trading so these hedge fund guys can like make their money back, right? Because you guys are being trolled right now. I'll read like a quote from what she said. So she said specifically, I think that in general, when we evaluate how we manage through a situation where you see a significant run up in a stock, not based on news, not based on fundamentals, what we do is we have technology that evaluates social media chatter. If we see a significant rise in the chatter on social media, most social media channels, we also match that up against unusual trading activity and potentially halt that stock to allow ourselves to investigate the situation, to be able to engage with the company and give the investors a chance to recalibrate their positions, right? So what's happening is that they don't like these like young kids like buying all this like stock and kind of screwing things up for them, right?
Yeah.
And again, it's still a little sketch, right? Because they it's like these guys can affect the confidence, but these like when these kids affect the market, like it's a problem. But when these big guys do it, it's like it's okay. It reminds me of that Joker theme, what Joker said, Nicholas, when Joker was like, no one freaks out when things go according to plan, right?
Yep.
When things go according to plan, nobody freaks out. I say this happens, I say this happens, like no one freaks out. But when this happens, everyone loses their mind. Right.
Yeah, that's so true. So I mean, it's still market manipulation, though, right? And yes, the big companies, like they're all guilty of that. The difference is they do it behind the scenes and they control the stock market, like just very discreetly.
Yeah.
But like what you said, it's when the little guy comes up, it's then it's an issue. And yes, I understand. Look, it is an issue, and if everyone comes out and says that it's okay for everyone to do this, what kind of message is that sending, right? Like that on one hand, there's that. And on the other hand, it's like, well, there's the pure hypocrisy of the situation, which, we've been talking about. So,
well, yeah, I mean, we can also look at so the two Georgia senators that lost their seats recently, right? They were accused of using their positions to buy and sell stock, right? Knowing like what about the pandemic to buy more stock and PPE and masks and whatnot. So, and one of the senators too, he was just like informed, I forgot his name. He was just informed that he was not going to be investigated by like the DOJ for like his shady like stock trades. So there's so much nuance and like little stories that we don't pay attention to, right?
Yep.
You like pay attention to like these like when like GameStop happens. So I'm gonna play a video of like this CEO just like losing his mind about like what happens. And it's just funny. All right, let's
The reason the market is doing what it's doing is people are sitting at home getting checks from the government, way of attacking wealthy people, and I think it's inappropriate. We're all going to work together and pull together.
So that is, I don't know, guys. Did you guys hear that?
Yep. Attacking wealthy people. Oh my God. There's an attack on wealthy people. Oh,
did you lose $1 million? Did you lose one of your hundreds of millions?
Hey, just send him a stimulus check of $600 and
exactly. Right?
Crazy. Like, oh, boo-hoo. Like, whatever, dude. Like, so.
I was just, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I that's just like a small like snippet of like what he said. I saw like his full like video, and when he talks about, he blames like the situation on like these wealthy people. He blames like also like the Fed, right, for like the zero interest rate because there's more money like coming in now. He blames like the zero commission. So Robinhood, they're known for like normally you have to pay like a commission every time you make a trade, like $9 or $10 or whatever. But because of Robinhood and the popularity of it, now it's zero. It doesn't cost anything to buy or sell stock. He also kind of blames the administration because like they're trying to like spend a lot of money and whatnot. But he says he voted for Biden because he voted for his value, not his pocketbook, which I think is just like.
Which administration is he blaming? The one that's been in office for 2.5 days?
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, that's exactly right. Now he's blaming them because he thinks they're about to spend a lot of money. Like there's a $1.9 trillion stimulus package that's happening. So that the Democrats are in the works. And he's kind of like the guy's just ranting. He's ranting. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I just wanted to show that all to you guys. It's a lot of jargon, mumbo jumbo, but hopefully that makes sense.
No, that was good. I've never gotten into stocks. Yeah, I've never bought stocks or anything. I've always heard about it from you guys and the other guys in our group. But that was really helpful for me to understand.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because it's things that we don't like normal people like us. Like I get into it, but I'm definitely like an amateur, like totally an amateur for it. But like the problem is like all the stock that's owned is only owned by like 40% of like Americans, and like that's where like a lot of those are the guys that are influencing Congress, right? That's where the money is coming from.
Yeah.
Like so super PACs and everything. So it's important that we do our research, and I hate the term "do our research" because if you do your research means like hopefully the person's not going to some shady site like getting like QAnon shit, but like but trying to understand like what like the stuff because it hurts in all of us, right? Like these guys freaking caused like freaking 2008 freaking financial crisis. So yeah, so that's that.
No, I think so. It was really helpful for me because I just really started getting into investing in stocks not too long ago. Like I started out on Acorn and then I moved over to Robinhood, right? And so, I get a call from my brother like a couple weeks ago, like, look, you have to get on AMC, GameStop now. Let's go, let's get it in or whatever. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And so back when he told me, so I did like a little research real quick, right?
Yeah.
So early January, GameStop's stock price was like around $17.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then on January 27th, it jumps to 347.
Holy crap.
Right?
I heard there's like over 2,000% of an increase.
It's insane.
It was up to 400, I think, possibly even 5. Like I said, it was a Fortune 500 company.
Yeah.
Fortune
I mean, right now,
paying minimum wage.
Still 90.
Yeah.
So I mean, right now it's 90. Like, I mean, it's crazy.
Well, yeah, it's going down. It's gonna tank. It's gonna tank.
Well, yeah, I mean, they could only sustain it for so long.
Yeah, like,
I laugh at the uproar that it's caused. All these wealthy people, or whatever. But I think it's a good thing. Like, it's time for people to have their eyes open on some stuff.
I will say this though, because of like GameStop, like shooting up like that a lot, like some good news came out of this too. Like a lot of people use the money that they earn from like this GameStop thing to pay off their student loans, right?
Yeah, I heard that.
A lot of people use it for like to donate, right? So there's actually like some good stuff that came out of this, right? that pisses off like the billionaires.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course.
Exactly.
Like
Of course.
this is like classic Robin Hood shit right here, right?
Yep,
So,
that's so true. And so I wanted to add in that whether you agree with this or you don't agree with what's been happening with GameStop, what I think is really like the most fascinating is the fact that 2 million plus people in this day and age can gather in such a short amount of time and just completely change, affect like the economy of like, the country with the biggest economy in the world.
Yep.
I mean, that's insane. That literally just 2 million, it was like 2.3 or 2.1 million Reddit users got together and just decided, to, manipulate the market. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. I thought for me, that was just like, geez.
I didn't know it was that many.
How
Reddit
would that happen?
users. Like,
yeah,
was,
dude.
Yeah, I didn't.
Reddit is huge, man.
It is.
But at the same time, you ask questions now. Like, what if like Russia tries doing this now? Or if, like.
So you're like that's discussing like basically step 2 of what I was already thinking. Step 1 is like, who organized this? Was this intentional? Right. I've heard all sorts of random, crazy things. I mean, this story is still kind of young. They're still researching it, trying, a lot of the details are still coming out to light. But who the hell organized something like that? 2 million plus people.
Yeah, I mean, it's based off of this Reddit like post. Like, I don't know how many people are on it, but I think the guy who organized it, or I know the originator, the owner of that post is American, right? So I can look it up and kind of find out what his name is and all that stuff. But it is an American person that did this. So I think it's fascinating. It's truly fascinating that.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, that doesn't say much in today's world.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys have any other questions. Hopefully that makes sense.
No, that was awesome. Yeah,
that was really good.
Yeah, happy you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, GameStop stock's going down, so if I already had to sell right now.
So I think to me, like this just highlights the further need for for this type of stuff to be put into our education system, right?
Yes.
In high school, junior high school, like students need to have a personal finance class so they understand how to play the game. Because here we are, in our, however, I'm not gonna say our ages, right? But like however old we are, and we're like, what's that? What did he do? How did he do that? You know what I mean? How does that work? How do I buy a stock? Like, people don't necessarily know that.
Yeah, I didn't even take I didn't take like stocks until like I was in college, and even then it didn't really give to this much detail. Like I took like some like basic econ classes, right? And I definitely think this needs to be taught at a lower level, like personal finance in general, right?
Yeah.
How credit cards work and how they're used to kind of essentially scam people, right? Like by paying minimum, you're paying a lot of money, right? So, but yeah, you're absolutely right, Nicholas. So, but yeah, that's GameStop in a nutshell. It's hilarious. Every time I think about it, I just laugh because it's kind of.
It is funny.
I think about the angry billionaire that's like, oh my god, this sucks, and they just hate rich people and blah 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 blah, and this, and I blame everybody, and it's like.
I will say, I'm sorry, I keep saying this, but I am going to say something. There are people that have been negatively impacted a lot to them that should not have been, right? Yeah, and I think it would be unfair of us to not point that out. That it's not that we're, we dislike anyone that's wealthy or anything. Like, look, I grew up in a very, my father was very well off growing up, right? I'm not fortunate enough to be, where my father was at the age that I'm at, but I don't have anything against wealthy people in general, right? But when we're talking about the ultra wealthy, the people that benefit off, off the backs of, everyone else. I mean, everyone else is, busting their asses and, they're not getting compensated what they're due. It's not right. And so people have a reason that they're really upset, and that's the reason why people know GameStop is a crappy company, but they're supporting them for that reason.
Just to screw people.
To screw people over. So I do want to say that, it's
I
unfortunate that people have, many people have been negatively impacted by this. And that is sad. And at the end of the day, what is happening, it is market manipulation. It is illegal. But if we're going to call that out, let's call it out against the big companies too.
Yeah. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's illegal, but maybe it should be. But I do want to add this though. So these, number one, I don't want to get too political here, but like, so AOC talks about the difference between like millions of dollars and billions. Like billions is so much more than millions, right? Billions is astronomical. And the fact of the matter is the wealthy has just gotten richer during the pandemic, where people are struggling, people are losing jobs, people are struggling over $600 stimulus checks, right? Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk I think Elon Musk may have reached 200 billion net worth by now. I think. I'm not sure. He's now the richest guy in the world. They're
going back and forth. Bezos and Musk are literally going back and forth like every week, pretty much.
Well, Elon Musk just passed Bezos, just passed him, and it kind of just shows you, like, just conceptually, like, even this billionaire guy who's complaining, like, his name is Leon Cooperman, and that's $1 billion. That's a lot of money. That is a lot.
How many people do you have to screw over to become a billionaire in this country? That's what I want to know.
That's the question. Like, it is a point where, like, we act like capitalism is talking about, like, you work hard, right, and work smart. But how hard do you work for billions, right? And how smart do you have to be? You're kind of taking advantage of people at some point now. Not to say I blame billionaires. I would love to be a billionaire one day.
There's only one way. There's only one way.
Don't start that, Omar. People believe it. No, I love to be a billionaire. I love to create an app like Facebook and become a billionaire. But at the same time, we have to recognize that these billions, it does cost something. So let me end that there. I know.